Welcome to today's episode of NewCyberFrontier. I'm your host, Christopher Gorog, and today we're continuing on in our two-part series on Zero Trust. We started talking a couple weeks ago about buzzwords, and then last week, the show we put out on the latest kind of thing that's happened in the cybersecurity industry that we're looking at called Zero Trust, where the White House has put out some initiatives on and implemented a new organization focused on Zero Trust, put together a framework, and a lot of our industry partners and people are starting to look into what does this mean. We're going through a kind of collage here, as you'll see, starting of the latest Rocky Mountain Cyberspace symposium put on by AFCEA, where we have many vendors and many booths and many marketing campaigns turned now to Zero Trust. But what does that mean as you look at these running Zero Trust in so many different terms, just using it as the next word that catches people's eye in most instances, and even identifying what does that mean to each person that uses it is a big difference. Is it different to everybody? And we'll go through and listen to what some of them had to say, what some people had to say, as we asked the question, what does Zero Trust mean to each of the people that are using the term, people that are now marketing their cybersecurity products based on Zero Trust? I hope you enjoy some of these explanations on what is Zero Trust.
Here today at the Cyberspace Symposium, and we are at the Zscaler booth, and in your advertisement we have the word Zero Trust.
Yes.
And I always like to hear what different applications, different people mean by that word. So give us 30 seconds on what does Zero Trust mean to you?
Yeah, in 30 seconds, the way that I always try to simplify it the most, Zscaler from a Zero Trust network access perspective, it's an escort badge versus a non-escort badge. Right? I think traditional VPNs is a non-escort badge. I present appropriate credentials. I show up at a security gate and granted access. I know I have freedom of movement in a boundary. Right? So that's a non-escort badge, traditional VPN. Zero Trust network access with Zscaler. You show up to that security gate, you have an escort badge, and by the way, you have no idea the route to the person in the building you're meant to meet with. And when you're done meeting with that person in that building, you are escorted back out to the front door. No opportunity to scout around, look around, no opportunity to access things that aren't directly within your mission. Zero Trust network access from Zscaler, and recently just IL5 with our provisional ATO in October, looking to support the military use.
All right, thank you. You heard it from?
Tom Tittermurray at Zscaler. I manage our systems engineers for DoD, Intel, and FSI.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
I'm Dean Hullings from Forescout Technologies, and what Zero Trust means to us is the ability to understand everything that's on the network and then have a policy engine to build what is trusted of those devices, of those users, and being able to then orchestrate tools to control those devices and control that access each time that an access is asked for. So it's not a one and done, it's not an inside a wall and you're trusted, it's every time that somebody wants to access a resource on a network, you got to make sure that you trust them and their device. And you also have to remember that sometimes devices don't have a user, and you have to be able to trust those devices as well.
Hold on, hon.
What is Zero Trust? Many people throw around this term ZTA, but they're not quite sure what it stands for, what it exactly means. Zero Trust starts with the concept of least privilege, ensuring that users, individuals, or devices have the minimum required privileges necessary to do the functions that is required of them on a day-to-day basis. Zero Trust can work on an application layer, it can work and be applied on individuals, or even with the network device authentication. For many of the projects that we support at Space Force and even the Air Force, we're trying to identify what the best concepts are and what the best approach is for Zero Trust to be applied throughout the enterprise and not just on one particular level.
Hey, Mark Sinkovich here from Illumio. I'm the Federal Director, and we focus on Zero Trust microsegmentation. We stop the lateral movement of a cyber attack, and we do that through denying malware cyber attacks from spreading laterally. And we do that through host-based microsegmentation. So our definition of zero trust is we stop the lateral movement of cyber attack using the application and workload pillar of zero trust.
Hi, this is Chris Myers from Juniper Networks. I'm the technical director over the Air Force and Space Force teams. So when it comes to zero trust, what we see is it's taking security away from the traditional edge and bringing it to the application and nearer to the users. What we do at Juniper Networks to enable zero trust is we provide session smart routing and a way to route at the session layer to provide that application and security visibility for zero trust to give you end-to-end routing, tunnelless software-defined WAN to route your applications from end to end.
All right.
Hi, I'm John Project with HashiCorp. We're out here talking zero trust with the Rocky Mountain Cyberspace Symposium. To HashiCorp, zero trust is got four pillars to it. The first is machine-to-machine access authorization. The second is machine-to-machine access. Third is human-to-machine access, and finally, human authentication authorization.
What I'm going to give you is that the world, according to me, or according to Brian Williams, I don't have a problem with my name in it, is that this term zero trust is being thrown around, and everybody is trying to put it up on their billboards, their slides, whatever it is, because there's funding behind it. Now, what it is and what it's supposed to deliver, there's no clear definition. I listen to leadership within the DoD. I listen to leadership within the federal government, and nobody can give you a clear definition of what it is. Conceptual, how do we allow all these things onto the network and not trust all of it, but securely allow these things and be able to ensure that we can execute missions, functions necessary. But what that is and how we do it and what's the core of that, there's no clear definition.
Thank you.
Are primarily on the access and security layer. So the access being switching and wireless components as well as authentication. And we'll meld those together to provide your access layer zero trust capabilities. We can go down rabbit holes as to what that really means, but from the Aruba perspective, it's access zero trust for the access layer. So we don't provide zero trust for client security, for instance, of which there are many components to the zero trust discussion. So Aruba is a access and security company. And so we'll provide the zero trust components that are required for access and security authentication, for instance.
Thanks for joining today and listening to that collage of what different vendors, what different people that are using the term zero trust, what they think that means to them in their instance. And as we heard so many times, it's really just let me rebrand what we already do and add zero trust, but also some great explanations. And the big thing to take from here is to see that it really is not very defined. It means something different and all over the map to different people, different industries. What does zero trust mean? And we look forward to where this goes and what we can come of it. We'd love to have people on to talk about zero trust, about what they're doing, and about how we feel that this can meet or be the next, segmentation into cybersecurity. Is it just another rebranding? Is it something that's going to go away, or is it something that's here to stay? Love to have your comments. Put them in the post. Also, join back for next episodes. Look forward to having you. Thanks for joining today's episode of New Cyber Frontier.